how do I turn this into this? Or better yet, this. Flint knapping is the art of breaking rocks to make them sharp. And everyone knew how to flint knap until like yesterday on the geologic scale. Knives are otherwise pretty hard to find in the woods. First, you need to select the right rocks. A great place to find flint is a creek with a bunch of rocks. To test if a random rock is going to be knappable, just break it. You'll see if it's smooth, and you should be looking for a conchoidal fracturing pattern. Let's see if I can get a better one. So this would be good material. And the smoother and glossier or glassier it looks, the better it is. You can still use some pretty rough stuff, but I can tell this without even breaking that it's gonna be good flint because it's nice and smooth and glassy. Any rock that is hard and lacks regular cleavage, that is regular lines of fracture, works. That's called amorphous, cryptocrystalline, or conchoidal fracturing. Glass is an example which everyone can find, and the bottom of bottles make a great material for arrowheads. I made this from an old glass table. Flint or chert is everywhere in my area, so I mostly use that, although it is harder to break and can contain concretions or inclusions that hinder fracturing. This is a good example of that flake pattern, as is this. You can see the ripples. A perpendicular strike to an amorphous crystal structure will cause a cone of force, like a bullet hole in glass. So this is just part of that cone. If you're able to achieve that in the center, the rock would just shatter, so you do it on the edge. But it allows for predictable flaking pattern. Quartzite, jasper, chalcedony, and agate are other examples of materials that work. Safety note, you most likely will get injured if you try flint knapping at all, so it's best to wear safety gloves, either leather gloves or gardening gloves, and I almost always wear eye protection. You do not want a glass or flint flake in your eye. Side note, what Ishi, the last of the Yahi in California, did when he got a flake in his eye was make sure to keep your eyelid open, hold it open, then just whack the back of your head till it falls out. I recommend safer glasses instead. The best hammerstones to use are roughly the size of the stone you're striking. So for this, I would use this stone. The best hammerstone shapes are rounded cobbles like this. You want a material that's hard, like flint actually works pretty well. Quartzite is another material I commonly use. And if it's in your area, basalt or granite work great. The best rock shapes are flattened oblate spheroids. So as close as you can get to the final product, or like a lentil bean shape. You want it to have an aspect ratio and profile of 2:1 or higher. Something like this is just for throwing at things. Something like this is pretty great, but can actually fracture. Something like this, you can make something really good out of that. But I mostly find things in this range. The size of the final blade would be directly related to the size of the larger semi-axis. Picked this one up from the creek, and it's a pretty good shape because it's rather long and flat, so I could probably make a long skinny blade out of this. Also, something with a waxy or glossy feel is a sign of really good quality. If it has a more grainy or rough feel, it's probably still workable, but not nearly as good as something very smooth like glass. Now, you can just start wailing on rocks and getting a feel for it, but it'll help to know some of the basic principles of flint knapping.